Hello, hello, Rhoda here. Welcome to my craft room. Today we're working on Edgar Allan Poe. Yee! She wanted me to have a couple of journals down there for Edgar Allan Poe. I don't know why he's so popular in our area, but every time I have something of his in the shop, it sells really good. This is a cute little portrait of him. I think I may put this on the cover. I just may do that. It came with a little frame and then the picture, and it was from like the Layers and Paper Dolls package, maybe for 2024. The Tim Holt stuff. So that's where I got that. And I'm going to show you all the different things that I've got and where I got it from. But I want to thank everyone for coming to visit. I really appreciate you coming by and seeing what I had to show you today. So this is from Gothic in the Belfry. This is Tracy Fox Creative. It was a cool digital she put out a couple years, maybe last year. I can't remember quite when it came out, but it has about 25 pages, and they're all really cool. You got some people. You got a lot of images of Poe here on these two, but there's a lot more other stuff as well. So that's going to get cut out and shared between the two journals. It's not going to be all for this one. Also over here, this is from my porch prints. I got this, maybe last year, but I'd seen somebody do a journal on it the year before that. Here are two little journal cards that came on one of the pages, and I just kind of put it on some cardstock and did that. And I printed the pages that I wanted to work with. There was a lot more. Of course, here's Lenore, and then the Raven, and I love this here, like it's his writing studio. I love this one with the crow on it, or raven. It's also got a bookmark, which is kind of neat. I love this system right here. Reminds me of the old card catalog at the library in elementary school. Then here are a few little pieces and parts of ephemera. I mean, things that just could be decorated throughout the journal, just to give it some pizzazz. You got the raven here, the black cat, and this is Annabelle Lee, the poem. This here came from Wonders by Wink on Etsy, and I got her Poe kit a couple years back, and I liked this, and I may go back. She's got a page, it's got all the titles of his books and poems that he wrote and short stories, and it comes in two different size fonts. So I may go back and get that if I think I got enough room. But each one of these is like a title. Like, I was a child and she was a child in this kingdom by the sea. But we loved with a love that was more than love, me and my Annabelle Lee. Okay, and here we go. This is my porch prints, the same kit as this. And I was wondering about putting one of these on the front cover. He was just a little too big, though, I felt. So on the one we're going to be working on today, this guy's going to go on there, and I put like a little black frame around him. But on the second journal, this will be put on there. Okay, so then that same My Porch Prints, I printed out 6 of the images that I really like. Like, here's the one with Lenore, and it's got the raven. Back here, it's got like a faded picture of him and his signature, and I love his big ink splat that's on there. And then I had some pictures, and here, the poems of sorrow, and then I don't know if that's a letter or something. It looks like, I don't know what it is. It's written in 4 lines, like it's a short story or something. These these pages I got from Tattered and Worn. Let me reach over here and get it. This is from the Hobby Lobby, of course, Paper Studio. And there are so many cool papers in here. in different color schemes and such. And I used a lot of them on the last two big Halloween journals that I did. And so I took out some of the pages that I thought would go in here because he's got a lot of maroons in this My Porch Prince kit. So I kind of stuck with that, though I did have some blues. And I just kind of smeared. I took my ink pad. Let me reach over here. I took my ink pad and just kind of rubbed that on here, and then I sprayed it with my little mister, and then I just kind of pulled it against that. But it didn't quite cover all the white. That's what I was trying to hide on here. So what I did is I went back in with my vintage photo and my dauber, and we took care of the rest of it. So it gave it a cool look. I mean, it's like really grungy looking, you know, Tommy. So I used my own dyed papers in throughout here, and more from that Tattered and Worn. And you can see these backgrounds. This has always been my favorite, that denim color of the Rit dye. Oh, I loved it. So I tried to put these, I got 3 of these in here. One for the cover or facing, and then this one, I always loved this guy with the skull. So you can see he's against another maroon, and I'll always love that mansion. Looks haunted. This is the first one I was starting to do, and I was going to spray it. But I noticed that I didn't have the tea dye spray, which I needed. And so I just kind of started doing that smeary method. More of my pages, Tattered and Worn, mine. And then I've got the Annabelle Lee. I love this script and all that kind of stuff. And it's got sort of dark elements, so that's why I put her right here. Of course, this is sort of maroon, the old candelabra. I just kind of put a few of the pages in here just to give a variation of the atmosphere, you know. That one had a little bit. That's actually a green, but it came more out as yellow. Baby poop yellow. Isn't that what you would say? This is The Bells, one of his poems. And there's some more of that pretty script. And yeah. This one got a little bit of the yellow coming through. This is kind of like plowing and a farm. And I thought, well, you know, that was kind of in his time period. So we're going to just keep that. And some kind of writing that he did, maybe a letter. Oh, it's got David Poe down there. Wasn't it his grandfather? I think it was. I think he raised him at one point. Poe had such a sad story, guys. Y'all have to read up on him. It was just depressing. You would understand why he wrote what he wrote when you see what all his life was like, even at the youngest age possible. I got to pull this one out because we're going to use a couple of these things on here on the one we're doing today. So the rest of this, I can kind of set it over to the side. And here's my idea for the cover. Okay, this is a little bit more complicated than the simple journal. I had printed out on this 110-pound cardstock some of the background papers from the My Porch Prince. And so I got this. Well, it didn't grab it right away. So it gave me this big white area on one end of this printout. So I inked it in with a whole lot of black. That's why you see a lot of black around the outside edge. I thought I was going to leave it at that. But then I remember, this is only 8.5 by 11. It would be exactly the same size as all my papers. And I didn't want that. I wanted a little bit of variation for the cover. So I went back into another paper pad that I had and got these keys on this black background, which I really liked. And it's actually 2 inches, and I scored it in half and kind of sandwiched it around there. So that's how I made that. And then at the end, I went in here and put, actually it's upside down. I put this in. Now this one I didn't do as well. I should have ripped it down the middle and did it in half. One here, one there, but I didn't do that. But this is another one of the pages from the My Porch Prince. But it's got a lot of his letters and some of his poems. And down here it's got his signature, so I thought that was cool to have on the inside cover. I don't think I'm going to do any kind of pockets or anything in here. They will be later on. Now I have these big rolls of different colored cheesecloth, and I think I got those at Hobby Lobby when that year I got all of that lace that was going on sale. So it's going to actually go in here like this. I'm kind of trying to hide that wrinkle that I got. So I'm going to do it like that. And then the papers are going to go inside as well, just like this. And I'm going to sew it in. Now, as you can see, there's a little bit of size difference here. And if I think that is too much, what I may just do is come in here and cut this down by another half. This is almost 10 inches tall. My usual is 9.5. So if I was to come in here and cut this down a little bit more, I think another a 1/4 inch on each end, it would do the trick. Now up here I'm fine. It's almost flush. You always have a little bit more stick out on the medium because this is one signature. So I will just get in here and I'll poke in like that and just sew in my signature. And then I can cut it down from there. But that is the plan, guys. That is the plan. So now I have to snap my fingers. Okay, so I have the book sort of put together. I've got all of the pages organized, and those shorter pages you might want to get in there and make sure they're dead center of the page, or however you're wanting to do it. You could layer this a little bit, have some pages up a little further, some down below. I did get in here and cut off a 1/4 of an inch from each end. So as you can see, it's better now. It's not like swallowing it, top and bottom. So then when you're doing just a single signature little book like this, you can just put your pages in there. Make sure they're deep into that corner crevice. And you always want to have it at least at a 45-degree angle, maybe a little more. You put your paper clips on here. I got these at Hobby Lobby. There's some up front, and there's some back there in the scrapbooking section. I think they're back there where you see a lot of the Paper Studio flowers, little packaged flowers and such. And so I usually use just some foam that I had from, I think, a computer, and I just doubled it up. And I'll usually lay this down, and I lean it against me, and then, so I can keep it held at that 45-degree angle. Because what that does is it allows you to get in there and poke in. And I'm just using my pokey tool. And since it's like narrower than the actual needle I'm going to be sewing with, I usually do a little, corkscrew kind of motion and try to open it up just a tad more. And that's all I do. I'm eyeballing this, but if you wanted it exact, you can get in here with a ruler and measure it in the middle, and then the equidistance on each end. When I'm doing a simple one like this, I don't really worry about it. I just don't worry about it. Now, the only color that I had, I've got like a green up there. I may use green for the other Poe book, and then I've got a blue. But I thought, this is kind of that pumpkin orange color. So when I do a 3-hole pamphlet stitch, which is what this is, I will go in, and I usually will hook my tail underneath this one paper clip. And then I will go in the middle one. I think I learned this one from Gail. Or Scrapbooking with Me. I don't know. Those are the people that I watched when I first started out. So you can either go to the bottom hole or the top hole. It doesn't matter. You're doing the same exact thing. It's like a symmetrical kind of thing. Either way you do it. Now with Gail, her last stitch in is a little different. Let's see. I don't know. I can't remember exactly. I haven't watched her for a while, so I'm not exactly sure what she did. So what you want to do is just have a whole, thread in here from top to bottom. So that's what you're going for. Now you're going to come back in that same hole that you began in, but you're going to want to be on the other side of that big string. See how I've got, let me get that all the way in, and then we're done with that. So I can put that up here. So what you want to do is make sure you got a string on this side and a string on that side of the middle. Now, you always want to hold it up, pull it a little tighter to tighten it up, and then you can get in here and do you a couple of knots. Some people will make this so long that they got a dangle down here. I'm not much of a dangler. I am not much into having anything kind of down there, but I did do something one time. I wanted to be kind of creative, so I made a really, really long string, and then I had something dangling off the end of it. I may even have like put these two together, but it was supposed to be a bookmark, so you could have put it anywhere in your book to mark where you were. So I thought that was kind of a cool idea. You just had to remember it came out of the middle. And I'm usually like a, did I get the knot just right? I don't know. Anyway, I usually do 3. And then I just kind of cut it off about an inch. That's how I do it. Now, you're good to go with taking all the paper clips out. You might want to watch if you got anything on the cover, a lip on the cover, anything like that, because these staple pieces, like that's holding right there. So you want to make sure you don't rip something as you're taking this off. Now see, it caught right there again, so I got to make sure I get in there and help it through that. Be supportive. Okay, as you see, the cheesecloth is in here. I'm not crazy about the way it's lying at the moment. So I'm just going to get in here and kind of chop it off. And it will eventually wear down to where it's more natural. I mean, you might have some pieces in here you can yank out and, yeah, and do it kind of like that. Now, see, it's a little bit better looking. It's kind of raggedy, which is what I wanted. And then we're going to do the same down here on this end. And this is just prepping our outside part of our journal to go with the look that we're going for. The spooky dooky look. Okay. That's my front. Now, I got a little bit more on the front here than I would prefer. I got a little bit more on the back too. So I will probably come back in here and trim that down just a little bit. Maybe to where it's only like 1 inch. And I'll pull out a little bit and get a good ripped look. I may do that a little later. Now, I don't know. I'm going to get a little bit more stuff in here. And I've got more things to glue in and that kind of thing. So I might think about a closure of some sort here. Now, Wayne had sent me this little bag of goodies in Happy Mail. Thank you, Wayne. I think it was Wayne. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Wayne. But I see these 2 keys right here that's really, really cool looking. And we're going with our theme of, you know, keys on the outside edge here. And I'm thinking of putting this key in here, something like that, and gluing it down, except for maybe this last section here with the little, I don't know what you call that part of the key, but I'm thinking if I put a hole in the back, in the middle, put me a little bit of a string in there. Now, I did have a little bit of string left of this orange, and that's what I could use. I just have just a little bit. And it could be pulled around here and wrapped around that, and that would be the closure. That's what I'm kind of thinking about. I thought that'd be kind of a cool look. So, yeah, we will be doing that. I don't think another key has a, well, you just never know. Let's see what this key looks like. Yeah, that one was laying there. I I guess they would know once they pull it off of there. I guess they know they could put it back on there so it would close. All right, we'll experiment. I'll put like a hole back here and figure it out. And if not, we'll do something else on the front. So now it's time to decorate. Here's my glue. My front cover. Here is my guy. And I've got him on like a little black, scrap piece of paper. The other one, he was a little too big. Here he is. And I thought he was just... Now, maybe I could cut this part off of that and then use it. But I kept thinking he looked like he was a little too big. He's like overpowering. I love this background, this gothic-y looking background. So that's why I went with what I did. I could put him on a little bit more of that gray. Or some kind of other base. Alright, I've been looking all over for something to use. A piece of lace, a piece of material. Just couldn't find anything that I was really happy with. That old ripped lace that I used before on my Halloween journals in previous years, I used it all up, man. It was perfect. So anyway, I got this ancient book. I think I've shown it to you before. But it's just like it's been in water and everything is damaged. It's really, really old. I forget what somebody told me the age on it was. But it's got all these different colored pages, and they're kind of rat bitten and torn and stuff like that. So I think I'm going to rip a couple of those out. Look, man, I don't know what that was in there, but okay. So I'm going to actually use that as my base to go under him. I wanted something that tied into what he did. So writing and that kind of thing kind of goes with finding pieces and parts falling out of here. Which way? Okay. Ooh. So I'm going to throw me a bead of glue right down the center here, because that's where we're going to put both of these little guys together. And then I'm going to kind of work my way around. What do I want to do here? So I don't need it to be that wide. That's the thing. I'm looking at it as a way to, maybe I can rip the edges. I want to see a little bit of the writing all the way around this. So let's get in here and see if we can just rippy rip. See, it's not it's not as cool as it was before. But the thing is, if I leave too much of the edge piece that's been nicely aged, I'm not going to be getting I'm going to be getting all white. I won't be getting the words that I'm wanting. So, okay. So I may be able to keep that little piece for something for another time. That one, maybe not. I don't know, though. I'll keep it. Don't know what I might do with it. I really love this part up here at the top. So, I even kept the number, so I'll leave that there for now. But I do want to get a little bit more of this off the bottom. So if you've got any old books that's just lying around, these have been in our basement. There was like 5 or 6 of them. And they seem to have been like this minister kind of guy from the early, mid 1800s. He's the one that had them, because his name is in a couple of the books. Oh, yeah. I really like how that turned out. So let's get him glued down to our base. And if you had just regular book page and you wanted to get this kind of a look with an aged piece of paper, you can always get onto it with some vintage photo. That either a wet tea dye or anything along those lines is going to give you that aged colored look that you might be wanting to go for. Yeah, so I've got the Centenary. I don't know. This was another language, and I don't know if it was Latin or what exactly it was. All right, so we're going to get in here and just kind of smear our Bearly Arts glue kind of all around the outside edge. I'm leaving a little bit of it. Not too much because it's pretty delicate. So I'm leaving a little bit of it where it can, you know, be bent backwards and stuff like that if I wanted to do that. So, yeah. I'm trying to get him dead center. There we go. I think that's about right. I'm going to try to push down. Anything else? And you could see the wet glue coming through because of that paper being so thin. I don't know if I need to cap that. I need to get in here and figure out what's going to go on each page. But it will dry. Hopefully it'll dry and you won't see that. My hope. That's my hope. Okay. What do we have next? We have a bunch of pictures. Like this is a tag. So I had a few little things here set aside that were tags and, you know, the journal cards and the bookmark, that kind of thing. Those are already done. I just wrapped that bookmark. I put him on regular copy paper, but I wrapped him around a stiffer piece of paper. So, you know, he had a little bit more oomph to him. And this little guy, I kind of just glued the 4 pieces together and kind of made it like a little book kind of a thing. And this one I kind of just wrapped it back to back because they were made to where you could do that. And so that's what I did. And this one is just a little bit too tall. So I don't know if that might be something to stick in the back. I don't really want to cover up all that real prettiness. Now I could do something like this and tuck it up. Or make it a kind of a fold thing. That's what I'm wondering about. So let me get over there and do a little fold system to it. Or maybe I'll just fold it up. Let's just do that. That is the least of my problems. So what I want to do is the part that will be flipped. I want it to have a little bit of that vintage photo look to it. Oh. There we go. Now, I will just stick it on there and then I will fold it up at the part that is going to stick out. So it's going to be about like that. This is the simplest way to do it. There might be other ways to do it. I'm just kind of throwing these guys together. I don't know what I'm going to price them at. They're going to be similar to a simple journal, but I did do a little bit more to them, I'm thinking. So around the $25 to $30 mark. I think that's what I usually price these things at. But I got to get stuff in there. Like I said, I'm going to be gone sometime in October, probably through the middle of the month. So I won't be here to get stuff ready. So whatever I get ready now, it's going down there. Ugh. All right. Now I've got a big picture of him that maybe we'll just put it up here in the middle. I'm trying to variegate where his pictures are going to be. Yeah, why not? This green was a little off, and I wasn't quite sure if I wanted to choose that to go in here. And then I thought, well, you know, that goosebump green, I guess that's the name of it. You see it everywhere. So you just kind of go along and pick things that you want to go wherever. Okay. And like I still have a few things to cut off of that Gothic in the Belfry. Let's see, I had another Poe picture here, I thought somewhere. Let me just sit here. There he is. Here's the other Poe. So I may just sit here and cut through these real quick and then figure out which one of these are going to go in here. And then I'll organize it. And then we can go through and glue. Because, you know, it takes forever to figure out where something needs to go and that kind of thing. All right, so give me a minute and I'll be right back. Okay, so I've got everybody cut out. I have arranged them in here, sort of where I want them to go. I mean, this is going to be a simpler style journal, so it doesn't have to be, you know, that finicky and perfect and all that kind of stuff. I kind of wanted to put, because this is about poems of sorrow over here, so I kind of wanted to put the skull where he's writing, maybe his picture there, and I kind of wanted to put this bird in here somewhere, because he was like a extra piece that I had. So wonder if I could rearrange it. He's just odd. I'm going to hold him out. Maybe he'll go somewhere else. I just couldn't figure out exactly where to put him. I tried to do every other page with something on it, because I imagine somebody will take this and hopefully use it as an actual journal. I think Tommy or somebody was asking me about this. People actually write in your journals, and well, I would hope that they do, because my way of thinking is I'm always thinking of a journaler. I just don't think of somebody going through and doing it as a lookbook. Now, those Halloween journals that I made, they're definitely a lookbook. There is nowhere in there whatsoever to do any journaling with. You might be able to tuck some pictures in there somewhere, but I don't know. I didn't make those to be written in. They were just something to get rid of all of that Halloween I had. Okay, that looks pretty good. I mean, this is so dark, you can't write on it. So I thought, yeah, and it's this lightness and this lightness, black and white, perfect. Okay, now this is kind of blue. Maybe I can just stick him over here just to get rid of him. Now, I still may go and print off those words that were in the Wonders by Wink kit that I've got. That's for Poe, and I think that's, yeah, I think that's the one place that I have. Now, I've got another digital that had the words in it. What was that? I may have to pick that one out, but I think it may need a little bit of a listing of his things that he did. So this one, I've got the Raven here. I don't know if this is from the Raven, but I thought I needed some wording in here. Maybe that could go over here with the bird. Let's kind of split things up. You can write on this. If you had black ink, I think it would do well to where you could see. Somebody finally got in there and bought my grimoire. I think it had been there forever. From last year, I know, because she wanted me to make some, and I know I made one or two for last year. Somebody bought one, and then the other one just kind of sat there, and she's forever telling me, she says, it just has to take the right person. The right person has to come in to buy it. And like I mentioned, the last time I went in and did my inventory, she said that some lady had been in there and bought 3 of my big books. Now, the grimoire may have been one of them. I don't know. I know she bought it may have been she bought the travel journals, because I've got no travel journals now down there. So I had to get, and that was part of my order that I'll share with you. It's going to be here in a few days. I got that one little Stamperia pad that had to do with traveling. And I got 2 journals out of it. And it was real pretty, bright colors. And had all these little streets and little vehicles. And what do you call that? You had the cable cars. Had all kinds of cool stuff in that. And then you had the park benches. It was just a neat little kit to put together. I'm running out of dyed pages though, so I may have to get me some of these inks that Tommy sent me in Happy Mail. And actually I was going to put that in the center. And make me some ink baths for some papers. And I'll just go in the basement, pull me out a tablecloth, vinyl tablecloth, and do a few nights of that. Hopefully, I usually do it when the fire is burning. So until then, I may have to figure out something else. I did not do anything outside this year. I didn't do any of my papers. I just dip and lay out in the grass. I didn't do any of that. And I really like the way this kind of frames this. This is where I was telling you to get in here before you sewed it in. And make sure you've got that balance just where you wanted it. And I love this. It's got a raven up there. That was one of the reasons. It almost looks like an old cathedral, doesn't it? Here's my card catalog. And it's got a lot of these tones on these 2 pages. So that's why I thought this would work pretty well right here. I'm leaving enough room for writing. And then I'll put this up at the top up here. I've got the black cat as the word to put on here. So I think I need to get out my little die cutter and my kitty cats and cut me out a black cat. Oh, that's right. I wanted to put that up behind there, but that's okay. We will fix that. And I try to cut it the way they had it shaped around each letter. All right, let's just stick it right there. And let me get my goodies together for cutting out a kitty. Okay, I got my little Sizzix. I love it. I needed it. I'd been wanting it for a while. And this is a Spellbinders kitty cats. And you got 3 different shapes in there. And I will probably pick the kitty. Well, poodly do. I want the kitty that's got his tail. It's the tape gets in here and sticks. There we go. Yeah, the kitty that's facing backwards. I guess that's the best way to look at him. Now I just need to cut me a little bit. This is 2 1/2, so it doesn't take that big of an area. So we're just going to take and cut that right like that. I got this little scraps over here. I'll save any little black in case I need to get back in here with some bats and anything like that. This is great for cutting little tiny things out. Let's see, I can probably get 2 kitty cats out of that if I tilt him sideways. Now this doesn't suction too well here, but we will make do. Okay. All right. There we go. Got 1 kitty cat. And then while I've got it here, I'm just going to go in here with the next one. Now, if you don't think it's going to stay in one spot or it's going to travel, or if you think it'll slide out, just go ahead and put a little bit of washi on your die. There we go. So I got another kitty cat for somewhere else. Probably the other book. That's it. Because the other book's got the same exact stuff in here. Okay. So we have our kitty that's going to go back in his little place. And then let me get this off the... Oh, it's still sticking off the desk. All right. And now we're ready for the kitty cat. It's always fun trying to figure out. Now, yeah, I'll probably do a bunch of bats and put in through here. I've got some dies for bats, and I've got some stamps for bats. So this little kitty, I think he would look best right here. Yeah. There. The black cat. Ooh, who's next? And then now I got the raven. Of course, I didn't put a bird here to go with the raven. Where was that other one I had in here that I just kind of plopped down? This guy. Let's do it right here. Because I should have had a bird with this. There's some that came on little circles. Now, you always want to have a variety of shapes to go on your pages because it it really adds to the interest it brings to your eye. Like, at least there, it's two different kinds of rectangles. Okay, this one. Let's put this one down. Yeah, this is kind of like watching paint dry. I don't know if anybody is interested in seeing this part. I've been trying to add a little bit of interest to it by putting a few dyes and things in here. But you may want to just see me throw one of these together. The other one I'll do on my own time. Now this one had some interesting pieces and parts like these little roses. And I liked this one because he had the candelabra. Just kind of like this one does. Now I'm wondering about doing it something like that. Let's do that way. And I had written before, I had to like type in these phrases to figure out which of the poems or stories they went with. The ones that I wasn't familiar with. But I used all those up the last time I cleaned out all my Poe stuff. And I forgot to save me one to tell me what was for what. So I'll have to do that again if I end up doing more Poe. I guess since he's so popular, he could go all year round. I know he's popular in Baltimore because supposedly he's buried there. The rest of his family, I know his grandfather is in Baltimore as well. Because I've went to that Westminster Chapel, I think Westminster, I think that's what it's called. It's so neat. Oh, if you like cemeteries and spooky and all that, that is the place to go. It's got these I don't know what you call them. It's those kind of plates made out of marble that's the whole size of the grave. But they're up on these little feet. They're being held up off the ground at least a foot or so. And I don't know what the devil is going on with them. But they're just different. One of them's actually in the World Book of Records because there's no way a piece of marble, they said, would bend. I mean, it's bent like an old swayback horse. So they said it's no way that a piece of marble like that can bend. It's just unnatural. All right, I think I'm putting this bird over here. Now, I do have some little scrappies up here. And see, I've got words and stuff there. And I'm wondering, let me put this little thing of words here. It's kind of rough looking, but oh well. I'm trying to use up what I got. That's my biggest kind of challenge thing. I'll put a bunch of crap on my desk and just leave it laying there, and I'll figure out where it can go. And if you're trying to figure out how to layer and all that kind of stuff, sometimes you need a lot of choices. So get out there and put you a bunch of little goodies of this and that on your desk. And then just kind of glance around as you're doing these little cluster kind of things and seeing what might go with it. I mean, I've still got these little scraps of this paper I put on the front over here looking at me. I am debating whether I need to use any of those. And this guy, I don't know if he needs anything else on this page, because he's pretty plain. Okay. And these guys, I was going to use those in some of those Halloween journals. I just kind of forgot about that. Now, this may look better over here. These tones kind of look like the tones that's over here. So we're going to see if that will work. Okay, that can go here. This has also got the same kind of tones in it. So all these colors are going to play nicely together. I got this little bit of a maroon piece, and I wasn't really sure what to do with it. But I like the gold that's on it, so we're going to put it in here. So right here. That's just to add to it. Let's see what else I have up here. Some more cut-offs from the edge that I made here. But I do have this thing with the world on it. This little person there. I got him sitting out there trying to figure out what I want to do with him. But I have a few other pieces. That was from the, oh gosh, what was that called? It was that paper pad I got at Michael's the other year. Nocturne. No, that wasn't it. But it had the coolest pieces. That's what I used for the Poe journals and stuff. I had a lot of those pieces. There was books, like big libraries. I love anything that has that in it. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, I got one of those on this side. I think I need a little bit more glue right there. Just a little bit. Now this one, we'll kind of stick him up here in the corner. Let's do it there. So it's at least kind of varied. Alright, right there. They may have a bird. I was watching something. This English woman was on there, and she was talking about ravens. Now, I was always thinking crows are really intelligent, but I think it's the ravens that are really smart. They're problem-solving smart. So, yeah, she was showing something about where they, there was water. They needed water, so there was this container, and they put all these pebbles around the water jug, I think it was. It had not exactly a neck, but it was a small round opening. So they put a bunch of pebbles around there, but the level of the water was down so low he couldn't drink. So he actually knew to put pebbles in there. He was dropping pebbles in, and then he would experiment and see if he could still reach the water. He couldn't, so he put more pebbles in. So they're a really, really smart bird. I think there's another thing where they were testing one with the different rings. You know how you have those different size rings you put on the peg when you're a child, a baby child. Well, they were doing that with the bird too. And he was kicking butt. I think he was better than the kid. That kid better catch up. That bird gonna beat him. Oh my goodness. Here's a neat round one. And I love this picture. This picture of this bird. I think I'm going to actually just kind of put him down here in the corner all by himself. Because he's got a different tone to him. He's black and white. But the other couple of pieces have a vintage photo look to them. Okay. So stick that too. There we go. And then I'll stick this one up here. Make sure I get the corners at least. If I don't get the glue anywhere else in there. Alright. Let me put that here. And then I'll put him kind of underneath. Whee! Right there. He doesn't look too happy in that one. I guess these are those AI generated ones. I don't know if that's an actual picture of Poe or if they made a few of these up. I mean, I don't remember that one of him. So it's kind of like you don't know. Now, I did need some pockets in here because I do have a few things that need to go in a pocket. So maybe I can make that thing into a pocket, that little world. And then I can dig out another piece to go somewhere in here for another pocket. That sounds good to me. Oops. Yep, put him over here. Oh, sorry. I had a gnat fly at my eyeball. I had to swat him. You little freak. Okay. I didn't lose an eye. Pretty bad. Lose an eye in the moment of crafting. Pretty bad. I don't know if I could, like, get insurance because they wouldn't believe me. Alright. Alright, we're going to put that one down here. Because there's a lot of area to write on here. And because it was a skull and this is a grave, I thought I would put those two together. Oh, in that cemetery also they have this pyramid. It's like a mausoleum. That's an actual pyramid. It's so cool. I think I'm going to put this up here. You know me, an Egyptian. Love my Egyptian. Okay, now this, I think I'm going to put it over there, maybe. Actually, maybe we'll come over here and do this, because that other page, I figure I'll just leave it be, since it has the poem on it. Okay. There. And this can kind of go here. And it's got like the light from here goes over to here, and then the tanny kind of color. Yeah. I'll lay that round top. Yeah. And what do I have at this end? Oh, I got the bird cage. It's got birds in it, but I don't think they're ravens. So I'm not exactly sure why she chose this to be in this digital kit. It's kind of an old-fashioned, vintage kind of an image, so maybe that's why. It's a really dark page, so I'm just going to put it in the dead center here. All right. Yep, that's it. Okay, so a pocket. Do I want a pocket in here? Maybe I'll just do that. I'll put this kind of in this area right there. I don't think it'll hurt anything. I need a little bit of a thumb punch. That's about right. I don't know that I need to ink it any, but we'll just do a little bit of inking on the edges at least to get the white off of it. There. Now I'm going to get in here and make a pocket. Oop. Okay, now pull that back. I want that, his name to still be visible there, so I got that where you can see it. Yes. All right. Now, I'll let that dry. And I'll dig in here and see. That's Christmas. I don't want that. See if there's anything else in here that might work. I've been picking and pawing through this quite a bit. No, I don't think that'll work either. Whew. Okay. I do have that, but it's not thick enough. Okay, over in my scrap pile I found this. It does have a black bird on it. I do need to cut it down a little bit. So it needs to be cut down probably right there. And also I found this on the floor, the Nevermore. I must have blown it off when I moved some things. And so I need to find a spot for him. All right, so let's go ahead and get this back here in the back. And we're going to do a thumb pull in it. I think it's straight. No, it's not. That's straight enough. I think so. Let's see if we can get a thumb pull in it now. Hopefully it's thick enough. No, it's not. I can already tell. Okay, let me put this behind it and see if it'll cut now. I just got to be in the center. Okay. Oh, there we go. And it still didn't get it all the way. Crap. Let me pull it around to this side. Yeah, sometimes you just have to put an extra piece of something in behind these things to get. It still wasn't cut. Good grief. What is going on? Let me put an extra thick piece back here that doesn't have any punch holes out of it. One more time. That did it. I just didn't have a solid enough piece behind it. What it ended up being. All right, let's get us a little bit of a... This is a thinner piece of paper. It's almost like a magazine paper, kind of a feel to it. But we'll just get back in here and put this down. There we go. Looks like a rib cage back there. Okay, let's flip. Actually, before I start flipping, let me get this and just start trimming, because I don't want all of that there. And we'll do that to the front as well. There we go. And I can start pulling little pieces and parts off of it just to give it a raggedy look. Yeah. With my finger. Let's do that to the front as well. Because now you'll be able to see whatever I tuck in that pocket. Yeah. Okay. There we go. That's all you got to do to make it raggedy. Now, let's see. What have I got? Let's put Mr. Poe right here in this little short pocket. And Lenore is already here, so we don't want her again. So we're going to put this little tiny guy in here. Well, we don't want that blue showing. We'll do that. Okay, now, we got to look for our spot for the Nevermore. And there's got to be a spot for that in here somewhere. And the Raven would be a good place for it. I'm going to put it sticking out right there because this may be where we put it. Then again, we have that. Now this didn't have anything else with it, so maybe this will be a very good spot for it. It's bringing in a little bit more of that light shade that's on the other side. So let's just do that. Kind of offset it. Yeah. That will do the trick. And I'm going to cap this poor glue before it starts gasping at me. Alright, now let's go to the back here and put in this little guy. It's like a little inkwell. And then we have Lenore. And we also have a bookmark. So I'm just actually going to tuck the bookmark back there. And all I did was put like this raggedy piece of cut off material that I had in it. So I'm just going to do it like that. And let's see what. Oh, it's already an hour. I was trying to think if I had enough time that I could get in here and see if we can work out this. Let's just do it. If you're willing to hang with me, I will do it. All right, so I've got out my crocodile. We're going to be using the small punch on this side because there's a bigger one over here. And we need to change out this. Let's see, it's probably a bigger one. Maybe that one. I don't know. There's an instruction thing on which one of those numbers goes with each size. So we're just going to try to get a black eyelet. That's good enough. I'm going to just go ahead and use the small one. We'll see if that works. If it doesn't, I'll go for the big one. So I wanted to get it. We're just going to go ahead and do it in the center. I don't think I'm going to worry about offsetting it anywhere. Since I'm working with black, I'm going to go ahead and get me a white pen. And we're going to figure out exactly where the center is. Okay. I'm on the 0 here and 4 3/4. Nope. 4 1/2. Nope. About right there. Okay, so I'm going to put my little eyelet hole right there. And these rulers by Tim Holtz are the best thing. Now I've done messed up and I used some fingernail polish remover and erased all of that. I also did it on one of my mats too. So don't ever use fingernail polish remover. Use like hand sanitizer. It's a whole lot milder. Okay. I don't have anything in the way back here. All right, let's tilt everything downward. And we're going to get our... And since this is a little thicker than regular, because I doubled this scrapbook paper over, it's a pretty good thickness. Okay. Yeah, my cutter doesn't, or my crappie dial doesn't work that great sometimes. So I just have to help it along. And then we're going to put our eyelet in there. Okay, here is where it comes. You got to put the little nipple part. Is that... Okay, there we go. The little nipple part goes down in the top part of the eyelet. And then you just kind of squeeze. Oh. And, yep. Now, as I've told you in the past, the way I do these, because sometimes it's got like a rough appearance, and you don't want to snag a lot of things, I put a little layer of glue around it, and then I just kind of let it dry. And that really helps it not be really sharp or snag or any of those things. Now I can go ahead and let that dry, and I'll be right back. Okay, it has a little bit more drying to do after I put that glue on it. But what I want to do is I'm going to figure out where the hole is. It's about right there. Okay, so what I want to do is now glue this to the front and have the little key part here be just about right where that's going to be. So I need to glue with some fabric tack this area in here. You may have another glue that you like to use. I just find fabric tack works for a lot of different parts of my crafting. Alright, so that's going to go right there. And I'm hoping this is going to work, otherwise this key is not going to function too good. So I'm going to hold this down while it dries. Okay, this is not quite dried. I still see it moving around in there, but we will see if we can get to the part where we can find out if it works. I think this is dry. Not quite all the way, but close enough. So we are going to put our little string, and I made it a little longer because I'm not sure where it needs to be tied in a knot. So let's get this inside of here. And I forget what they call this kind of a loopy knot. Somebody used a librarian's knot or something. I heard somebody call it one time. I'm like, I have never heard it called that before. So what I need to do is get the knot about right in here somewhere. So let's see what we can do. Did I get both pieces? There we go. They're there. I just didn't know I had both of them. All right, let's pull this around here again and see where we need to be. I think that right there wouldn't hurt because it can open a little bit, but it's got to be able to stretch. That's right. It's got to be able to stretch far enough to go over that part of the key. So you got to work you got to work these things out in your head. I know I'm always trying to figure out new closure methods and things like that. So it's not like I ever get to see them, you know, happening on somebody else's channel. I'm always piddling with them myself. Now, it looks like that may do it. Look at that. So that works. I gotta let that dry all the way though. But I think where that's tied, that's just about right. You may have to work it with your finger a little bit to get it off. So do we want to make it a little bit further down? Could be. I pulled it a little tighter than most here. All right, I finally got that worked out where it's a little bit wider than what it was before. So, yeah. So you can have a little bit of a gape. If somebody gets in here and puts a few things, some pictures, you're going to want to have a little bit of give to it. So we're going to get rid of that little bit of extra. So there we go, everybody. And since you stuck with me, I'm going to give you a little sneaky peek of what is going to happen in the spider journal and the skeletal graveyard journals. Okay, so this is a pink monarch print, the super simple number 3 for Halloween. And I printed out these 2 pieces because they mostly had spider oriented items on them. The rest of them really didn't. It's also got my words that I might want to use. So this is what I'm going to use along with some other spider oriented things I've already got. This is more of that Gothic in the Belfry. And it's like some of the first pages, but it's got some eerie, ghouly kind of things going on here. Not really for spiders, but for the graveyard skeleton ones. See, I've got a whole bunch of skeletons right there and a graveyard entrance. Some flowers, which would, now I got a skeleton over there. So as you can see, a lot of these are going to be able to be used for the 2 skeleton. A lot of graveyards here. Woohoo! Pretty cool, pretty cool. Okay, and then I got into my Craftly haul, and I printed these out as an opening page for each of the journals inside, like we did here, the very first page, and I'll have something else on it inside, so it's kind of decorated up. So there you go. That's kind of like a little sneaky peek of what's coming up. I'll probably do the spider journals on my next make kind of a video, because I may have a flip through of probably the skeleton journals next. I don't think I've got that one posted. This one's coming out today, so I got to get it to start uploading. So I want to thank everyone for spending an hour and 12 minutes with me. Oh, an hour and 13 minutes with me. And I really appreciate it. I appreciate all your support and your kind words and all the backup and, just inspiration that you give me. So thank you, all my subscribers and viewers, for all of that. And thank you. Come back again and see me. Bye-bye.